With pick 31 in the national draft, Richmond has selected Zane Peucker from Woodville, West Torrens in South Australia, 179 centimetre. We're going to call him a forward half player. So I don't want to exactly pigeonhole him as a small forward because whilst he did play that role for South Australia in the champs, he does work a lot higher up the ground and does amass some good disposal numbers quite frequently. So I feel like he's a bit of a higher playing, smaller forward type. They can do a bit of everything, which is really good. But yeah, this was a really interesting pick, wasn't it? Because I know on the night that none of us had really heard of who Zane was. There was no sort of intel on him from a lot of people during the live. But what was most noticeable with this pick is the night before when Ry Geeshan was interviewed after the first night, and they were asking him about what's going to happen with our pick 31 on the second night. And he was really emphatic and confident, saying that we know we're going to get our player no matter who other teams choose. So Zane had been earmarked from a long way out. And you could see again when watching the club interviews with him afterwards, after he was selected, that the club had interviewed him many times, Uze included. And even Uze had kind of, like, I suppose playfully flirted with saying round one. And I know he maybe has said that to a few of the players, but you don't often, I don't think you often hear coaches say that unless they really think a kid's got something to offer. Maybe I'm reading too much into that. Maybe he's just being a bit happy and playful with it all. But I felt it was a positive indication, to be honest. And then the other part of it too is when Uze flipped the phone around to say, he's like super excited for this draft pick. And I'm guessing the camera was either then pointing at Ry Geeshan or potentially Sam Cousins, who looks after the WA NSA recruiting. So it seems like that people in the club who scouted Zane were over the moon to be able to get him. There's been a couple of people have sent through messages who work in the inner draft circles of other clubs and whatnot, and they had received intel that apparently Richmond had ranked him in their top 25 players. So that's how highly we ranked Zane and his body of work throughout the year, according to a few in the industry, which is really, really interesting because I guess all the questions started coming through because Fox Footy had him rated in the 90s, I think it might have been. So then naturally people have the correlation of, well, why didn't we just rookie him, or why did we not take someone else instead and pick him later? The answer's pretty simple. It's because when Ry Geeshan and Blair Hartley and whoever else is looking after recruiting, if they identify someone that they want, they will go and get that person. They don't really care about the outside noise and whatever else is happening, and they clearly had earmarked Zane Peucker from a long way out. And he looks a really good type as well, doesn't he? Like, you're looking at the highlights package, you're reading up about him as well. He's just got X factor. He's bubbly. He's energetic. He's vibrant. What I love, though, is he's got good footy IQ. This seems to be a little bit of a common trend recently, and it won't just be with Richmond, it'll be with a lot of clubs. But don't underestimate the importance of footy IQ. And once again, another player with tremendous speed, which seems to be a really common factor with all of our draft picks, which is good. I think it's a really good sign of things, and it's a sign of where the game plan is heading. But Peucker was a dominant force for the Eagles under 18s this year. Averaged 25 disposals, 1.5 goals a game, and 5.5 score involvements per game. And that's what I mean by, I don't want to pigeonhole him as a small forward, because really small forwards in a traditional sense don't get those numbers. So the fact he's got the ability to work up the ground and get dangerous and get himself involved is a really good sign. And I think that's a good mix and a good blend to have when you're playing in the front half of the ground. You need to be able to do multiple things. He was pretty prolific late in the year. He had a 34 disposal game and 2 goals in a narrow loss to West Adelaide in round 14, and then 31 touches and 3 goals the following week against Norwood. It's like, they're like midfielder smashing out big game numbers. It's actually crazy disposals and goals, to be honest. It's no wonder that we had him ranked high up on our board, especially with the good SA connections that we have. Peucker's also booted a goal in every game that he played for South Australia in the champs. He was obviously a teammate with Sam Cumming, who we drafted as well. It's really interesting that we've gone a heavy South Australian flavour, haven't we? In a lot of ways, it makes sense because South Australia were utterly dominant in the champs, as we all saw. And obviously Sam Grill is the exception, who wasn't obviously playing for South Australia. But everybody else, we've just picked the eyes out of it. And I actually like it for a couple of reasons. One, because South Australia was so dominant that it stands to reason they've got some pretty good footy players in those ranks, which rings true. And secondly, and I don't know whether this is strategic or if it's just how it played out, but I think it also helps offset and mitigate any potential go home type factor. Like, these kids are coming to the club surrounded by people they know and they're familiar with and they're comfortable with. I think it's a really good it's a really good thing to have. It's a good thing to have. Whether it's deliberate or not, it doesn't really matter. It's happened, and I like it, and I think it's going to help us in the long term with all these kids settling in, feeling at home straight away, and getting to work. Similar to Jasper Elgar, he's one of the youngest players in the draft, so I believe he's born later in December, so still yet to turn 18, which was one of the upsides for Jasper as well, was that he obviously showed great potential and great traits as a younger 17-year-old, like Zane. So to see and realize how much development and growth he's still got to go is also a really exciting factor as well. And he possesses raw speed, and he showcased that at the combine too. So ran a 20-meter sprint time of 2.95 seconds. However, in the preseason testing, he actually ran a 2.89, which would have put him in the top 3 at the end of the year at the combine. So does have some serious wheels. Everything that Peucker does is full of intent and X factor. Makes things happen. Reads the ball well. He's ultra competitive too. Again, similar to Sam Grill, similar to Sam Cumming. All three are very, very competitive, either within themselves and within the game, which I think is a really good trait to have. And it's, I don't know, it's showing a little bit of intent on where we want this team to go. So, good core strength, and he's got, loves to break the play open through force, and he connects the lines between the ground. That's why he's able to get 24 to 30 touches, because he connects from defence to midfield to forward and is able to link up play and release plays with handball and do all that kind of stuff. Penetrating kick and kick it at least 50 metres on the run, as 179 centimetres is pretty good going, and can read the play well. Like, you can see when the ball's hitting towards the boundary line, he's just got good strength, good balance to keep the ball in play, and just tries to make something happen. In terms of strengths, energy, hurt factor, kick penetration, power, scoreboard impact and speed, and then improvements, composure, endurance, and tackle pressure. Now, the endurance side of thing, I'm not too worried about. Footy clubs can improve that. They can take 15, 20 seconds off a 2K time trial time within one off season with the amount of work and things that they do. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. Tackle pressure, again, that's something that can easily be refined and learnt in an AFL environment. And same as composure. It's just getting exposed and experienced to having to make decisions under immense pressure, which is what we're seemingly training based on what Uze said. But all of those strengths, though, are brilliant to read. And this could be one of the really astute picks of the draft. And I just get the feeling the club are deep down really excited about this pick with Zane. And look, I'm not sure if round one's a pipe dream or not. I don't know. Obviously, we're going to have to wait and see how preseason plays out. It's going to cause a lot of competition for spots in that front half. I think as well, a player like Peucker to me, signals that someone like a Seth Campbell is maybe looking to move further up the ground, which I think is a positive sign as well. So then, we're sort of then looking at Peucker, we're looking at Elgar, Mansell, Steely Green, Morris Rioli Jr. I know Tash Hotton's going to go between forward and midfield as well. So we're sort of looking at those types of players. They're going to be pushing for positions in the forward line, and there's not enough positions to house them all, so it's going to be a fair old competition. And given that he is ultra competitive, I think it's going to be a good thing, because they're all going to push each other so much further, so much faster. Great pick, Zane Peucker. Welcome to the Richmond Football Club. We can't wait to see you out there in the G, and we look forward to you lighting it up and kicking a few goals.